These are the assembly instructions for my candy bar purse. This is my base piece and it has many score lines, and I'm just creasing all those score lines. So now that I've folded those along those score lines, it gives me a better idea of where I need to glue my decorative panels. I have my base layer, which is the purple, and then I have my Halloween themed layer. I have that for both sides and that flap at the front of my bag. I also have two for each side there. They're going to go at the top. One for the bottom and one for the top with the holes in it. And then I have these little tiny thin strips that go the top here, both sides left and right. I have 3 pieces for this one because there's the cutouts for the straps. So these get adhered on either side of the holes, and this gets adhered in the center. So I'm just going to glue all of those panels down. So one thing I'd like to mention is that the paper that I used is directional. So the mistake that I've made here is when I fold this under the way that it should be, these 2 panels are correct, but the one at the back is upside down. I'm not going to bother redoing it because odds are nobody will notice but me. You have to make sure when you're cutting it out, if there is direction on your patterned paper, this piece has to be cut out with the point pointing downwards, and this piece, same thing. This V has to be pointed downwards on your pattern paper, and this one it doesn't matter because it can go up or down, and that's why I made the mistake. Next I'm going to put glue on one side, so the tab that's closest to the panel that has the divot in the center, and all along that side tab. And I'm going to fold my piece up so that my sides join. I want the cut line of my side to be against the score line of the tab. And I'm just going to go in there with my bone folder. I'm pushing down on that tab to make sure that it glues down properly. And I'm also applying a little bit of pressure to the side. I'm going to do that with the other side as well. So I'm putting glue on that bottom tab and all along that side, tucking it in and folding the side over. I want it flush at the bottom and right against the score line on the side. Applying a little pressure, making sure that that glue is sticking exactly where you need it. And then I'm going to push in those top tabs, and the front folds over like so. Next I have these little holes, and I have these little eyelets. They have a hole that's 1/8 of an inch, so 0.125. I'm just going to insert them in the hole that's at the top, like so. Not only is it decorative, but it also reinforces those little holes. It certainly isn't absolutely necessary, it's just a fun little embellishment. So this is my crocodile, and all it's going to do is cinch these little eyelets into place. I have my pin side here. Now it's the smaller of the 2 pins. And if you have one of these, you want the smaller one. and then I'm on the silver side of this nib. And I'm just going to place a little prong inside and squeeze, and that will secure my eyelet. I'm going to do that on the other side as well. And then I'm going to take some ribbon, and I already have it cut at an angle, which is really convenient because then I'm just going to thread it through. Actually, I'm going to thread it through one side, and then I'm going to thread it through the other. I'm going to decide how long I want this. I think that's probably about right. I'm just straightening out so that there's no twists in it. And I'm just going to make a knot. I'm just knotting my two sides together. And then I'm going to snip off the excess. I'm snipping this off at an angle again for next time. So for my bow, I'm going to take the piece that looks like swim goggles. I'm just going to curl it over like this. My Cricut tool to round it. I don't want these flat. I want them rounded out. I want them rounded out on both sides. So I'm just going to put a little small amount of glue in the center, and I'm going to use my reverse tweezers to pinch them together until the glue takes. And then I'm going to put glue on the back like so, and I'm going to take that back piece for my bow and just layer it on top. And I'm looking at the back of my bow right now, and I'm just again pinching that into place. And then I have the smallest of my little rectangle. I'm going to place it so there's approximately an even amount on the left and the right side, and I'm going to wrap that tiny little piece around the middle of my bow. I'm flipping my bow around again. We're looking at the back of my bow. I'm putting some glue on the back with my tweezers again. Leave them like that for now, waiting for that to dry. In the meantime, I'm going to work on my little closure. So I've got some scrap pieces of cardstock here, and I'm just going to layer them up on top of one another. And then I'm taking that piece of cardstock with the rounded end. So I'm going to put a little bit of glue just on the point. Place that so that it's centered over the point. So I'm closing my box the way that I want it to close. And then I'm going to put those little scraps on top of my little closing strip, like so. This is just to add thickness. And then this piece is going to be adhered. So I'm just putting glue on either end. I'm holding my bag closed just the way I like it. I'm placing it centered as I can. And then I'm going to remove my scraps, and that's my little closure for my box. Now I have my little bow. I'm going to add the bow over the closure. Why not? I'm just going to put my little bow like so. I'm just placing my candy bar inside. Those tabs down. Alternately, I made this one. Now this one I used a magnet to close it. I have a piece of metal with adhesive on it that I've inserted inside, and I have a magnet. And then this one is a different format. So this is a standard Canadian Hershey's bar. So an alternate closure that I came up with were these buckle closures, and so I'm just going to show you how I assembled them. All right, so first I cut out duplicates of my buckle pieces, and I'm going to glue them back to back. And this is for two reasons. First reason is to make both sides pretty, and the second reason is so that they're a little bit sturdier. And then I have my straps, so this is the base layer. Then I have the decorative layer in two pieces, and I'm just going to glue these on top like so. I find it easier to do this part with the chocolate bar inside because then it gives it a little bit more body. I'm putting my purse on the inch line. I want this piece to be exactly 2 inches down, so it's 2 inches lower on my mat, and that little round edge is just at the edge of my box like so. And then I'm just going to pinch this around the top like so. Keep my hand firmly on the top, wrap this around until it meets. And then I'm going to put glue all the way from here all the way down to the last fold as I was wrapping it around. I'm placing my box back on the inch line, so I'm wrapping it back around again, but this time there's glue on it, so I'm making sure that that glue is taking. And so the first one is glued in place. I'm going to flip my box around and do the exact same thing on the other side. So next I'm going to take my buckle and I'm going to thread it through, and then I'm folding down. I'm going to put glue on the very tip and then fold it down again. I'm going to do that with the other side as well. And then I have 2 of these little strips and they get wrapped around the bottom here like that. Put a little bit of glue, and then I'm just gluing this strip to itself. And I'm going to do that for both of them. Starting at the back, I'm wrapping it around the front and then wrapping it around the back again, and then just gluing it to itself at the back. So I've just added the handle as I did for the previous one, the same technique. So then you just slip your buckle in, make sure that that little prong goes into the hole, and that you're slipping the bottom, that little curved edge, right into that little horizontal piece. So I do that for the other one as well. It just works just like that. So a different option for a different closure.